are live. All right, welcome everybody to this week's edition of the Business Owners Mastermind Call. My name is John Pyre, the business doctor, and my co-host Alan is on vacation. Actually, he's traveling on a business trip in Florida. So, hi, Alan. What's up, man? And so, one of the things I've been getting a lot of requests for over the last several weeks. I've been getting approached by a lot of people that are leaving their job, or they're not able to go back to work because their job is still on hold and they're starting a business. And so they come to me and they go, I'm thinking about starting this thing, or I'm thinking about starting this thing. And a lot of them come to me because people refer them to me and says, you need to talk to John. He can help you start a business. So I've had lots and lots of these conversations over the past 2 weeks, and they are just continuing to grow. I mean, every day I'm just getting more and more questions about how do you succeed in business? How do you start a business? How do I structure it? Do I hire right now? Do I not hire? I mean, so many different questions about starting a business. And so one of the business principles I've learned is, like, when you do something and you teach something over and over and over again, you might as well record it, because somebody else is going to ask that question, and you should be able to give them something to record. So it's all about time duplication. It's all about leverage. So what you want to do in a business, whether you got a business established right now, or you're looking to start a business, this is really a key principle, is the only time to ever hire is when you want to leverage yourself as the owner. When you find things that you don't want to do and you want to have somebody else do it. Either you're going to outsource it, you're going to delegate it, you're going to automate it, whatever that is. But today we're going to talk about, I'm going to cut this out into 5 different videos, 5 different modules. So the next 5 weeks, I'm going to go through step by step. I'm going to share for about 10, 15 minutes on a different aspect of starting a company, open it up for live Q&A, and then we'll have that series that you can go back and reference anytime. So the very first thing you got to start out with is, okay, what is your vision? What is your vision for this business? What do you want to get accomplished? Now, it sounds easier said than done. I had a guy that my wife had introduced me to that has multiple skill sets, multiple different passions, wants to start a business doing this, and doing this. That's great. However, you can only start one at a time. I mean, you can start multiple ones at a time. Just every single mentor I've ever coached with, and even Tony Robbins teaches this, and he has 25 different businesses netting over $5.4 billion. It's easier to start one business and get that business to a point where it's systematized, where it's running, where it doesn't really need much of your attention anymore before you start another business. It's like Andrew Carnegie said one time, it's like, put all your eggs in one basket and watch that basket. And that's how you become successful in business. So even though you may have this idea, all these different ideas, it's very important for you to get clear on the one single thing that you're going to be the most passionate about, that if it was built, would make you extremely happy, fulfilled, and satisfied. And then ultimately, it's a business. It needs to be able to make money. And so when I go to look at starting a business, number one is I look around and I'm going, okay, who else, go to Google, and who else has this business? Who else has done this? Now, just because somebody hasn't done it doesn't mean that you can't go do it. It just depends on how much capital you have and how much stuff you want to throw on the wall to figure it out. So much easier to start a business that has already been proven in the marketplace. So what I look for is already successful people out there in the market. Does this type of business exist? I look at their websites. I look at their testimonials, their reviews, all the different things. When I'm looking to launch a new product or a business, does the market already spend money and pay for that service? And if they do, that's great news. Now, some people, depending on the personality type that you have, you may look at that and go, oh, my God, I'm late to the party. No, All it is validation that the idea you have floating around in your head is successful and the market will pay you for it. All you got to do is figure out what your competition's doing that you're not doing, what you can do that your competition's not doing, and then you fill in the gap. What are both you and your competition capable of doing? And that's how you're going to start your business, is a vision. Where do you want to be a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now? If you can think 5, 10 years from now, where do you want your business to be? It all starts with that vision. Do you want it to be national? Do you want it to be local? Do you want it to be global? What's the geography of that? Who are your clients? What is it that you do for them? How are you going to deliver that product or service to them? Are you going to ultimately have employees? How much revenue is it going to produce when everything is said and done? Are you going to be a corporation? Are you going to be employee owned? Are you going to have partners? All this goes into the vision of your business. So you want to start asking those questions to yourself. What kind of product or service do you have? Who is your target client and target market? Are there already successful people in that space? What type of pain are you solving? What kind of problem are you solving in the marketplace? Where do you ultimately want it to be? And that's how you're going to craft your vision statement. So once you have that laundry list of all those things, then you want to put it into a paragraph, maybe 2 at the most, and it needs to be able to describe where you're going. So if somebody were to ask you about your business, or you were going to hire an employee or go and seek funding, you need to be able to be very clear about where you want to go. That is the first step in a one-page strategic plan. And once you have your vision set up, then you want to create your mission statement. And the mission statement is, okay, what is it that you actually do? What do you do? And it's never ending. It's not a goal that you get accomplished. It's not a vision of where you want to go. It's what you do. And so John Pyron coaching is I eliminate the frustrations of owning a business. That is a mission statement. Okay, now that I've eliminated the frustrations of owning a business, what else? Well, I eliminate the frustrations of owning a business because every time you get to another level, there's going to be a new level of frustration. And so John Pyron coaching exists to solve business problems. John Pyron, the business doctor, exists to eliminate the frustrations of owning a business. 10X Consulting Group, a whole another company I own. That mission statement of that business is to help business owners achieve results faster. So, okay, now that I've helped them achieve results faster, what's next? Well, I help them achieve results faster because it's a never-ending deal. Disney's is to make people happy. FedEx is the world on time. And so how do you craft your mission statement? Well, what I've told people for many, many years, and this is what I've learned from my own mentors, is make a laundry list of all the benefits that your client is going to receive by working with you. Once you get that laundry list down, then you can take those, combine them into certain words, and you're looking for a 5 to 7 word statement that defines your mission statement. Now that you have your vision statement, your mission statement done, the next thing you want to do is decide, okay, this year, this calendar year, what are my objectives? No more than 9 because it's got to fit on a 1 page. No more than 1 sentence, no more than 1 line. Or no more than 9, and no more than 1 sentence because it's got to fit on that 1 page. And it's your top objectives that you want to hit by the end of the year. You're building a business, so I would encourage you to start out with what is the revenue you want to achieve by the end of this current year, whatever year you're watching this video on. What do you want to achieve by the end of this year? And all the other objectives really should go to support that objective. Maybe you're not going to launch your business this year. Maybe your whole goal this year of your big vision is to get venture funding. Maybe it's to go out and seek investors. Well, that's a whole different objective. So the objective there would be create literally a long form business plan and an investor packet to seek funding. I've done many of those. And so, but For the most part, most businesses can operate on a one-page strategic business plan. So all the 9 objectives, and when you're in a startup mode, I wrote down a couple of notes here. You need to have an objective for a sales and marketing plan, a sales strategy. If you are a brand new business owner, like most new business owners starting don't have a sales background. They've never been professionally trained in sales. And I got news for you. Whether you like sales or not is irrelevant. If you don't learn and master the art of selling, you're not going to succeed in business. That's just the bottom line. I'll save you a tremendous amount of time. So you want to find the right training, the right coaching, the right mentoring, so you can learn sales. And because if you can't have a conversation with somebody and talk to them about your product or service and why they should buy from you and present it in such a way where it meets their need and they want it and be able to ask them for the order, you're not going to succeed. All you'll do is you'll drive yourself crazy over and over and over again of being told no. It's like I talked to a business owner yesterday. He called me up. I had a conversation with him back in, I think it was January. And I'll just call him Fred. Okay. His name's, I'm going to protect his name. But he calls me up and he says, hey, remember you and I talked back in January about the new business I'm starting, and I left my old job and I'm starting this business and I'm really excited about it. And so, you know, I did exactly what you told me to do. And I ended up went out and got a partner, but man, I'm just not having success. And so I asked him point blank. I said, okay, how many sales did you make in the month of April? And he said 2. I go, what's your product? He told me about his product. I said, what's the price point? He said $7,500 up front. And he goes, man, the economy's bad. This is bad. People are having a tough time making a decision for $7,500. I said, who else is in your company? And he told me about a guy. And I go, how many sales did that guy make in the month of April? And he goes, that guy made 8 sales at $7,500. I go, so you made 2 and he made 8. So is the economy really the problem? No. What's the difference between you and him? Well, he's been at it a lot longer than I have, and he's been selling. Yeah, he knows how to sell. And so I asked him things like, okay, how many appointments did you run? Well, I ran 78 appointments. Okay, now let me define that. How many people did you actually talk to, present your product to or your service to, and ask them to buy? Well, probably about 55. I go, okay, and only 2 said yes. Yeah? Well, do you think that's a problem? Yeah. So either the lead that you have sucks, okay, or it's not a qualified lead, or you need sales skills. What do you think is the need there? And he goes, well, sales. I don't like to sell. I go, well, either you're going to have to get over your fear. There's a lot of things I've done in life that I don't like. There's a lot of things I've learned in life that I did not want to do. I did not want to walk when I was, learning how to walk when I was 1 year old, but my mom and dad kept freaking making my butt walk. Thank God they did, because otherwise I'd still be crawling around at 51 years old. Now, I know that's kind of corny, but it makes a point. There's a lot of things we do in life as human beings that we don't want to do. And if you're going to build a business, selling is one of those things you may not like, you may hate, but I've trained now over 5,000 salespeople in 12 countries, all different kinds of personalities. I've trained very highly analytical computer people that they don't talk to people at all. And I've turned them into sales ninjas. I've taken people that have a natural gift of gab. These people, they think, oh, yeah, well, naturally that person's good at sales. They can talk, they can sell ice cubes to Eskimos. No, after 22 years of being in business and having built 3 multi-million-dollar companies, I did not get professional sales training until after 22 years in sales. And when I actually humbled myself and went through a 12-module program and got some mentoring and coaching, I mean, the sales skills I have now are incredible. I look back on the businesses I built, I'm like, man, if I would have just got the training, man, how much more could I have done? But I ultimately figured it out. But, man, I could have knocked off 10, 15 years off that journey had I taken the time to learn how to sell. So here's the deal. You need to learn how to sell. That should be on your one-page plan as an objective, is to become professionally trained in sales this year if you're starting a business. Next, you're going to need a marketing plan. So you need to have a marketing plan that works. And I'm not going to go into too much detail. That's on a whole nother time frame. But these are the different components. If you're starting a business from scratch, it need to be in your objectives for this year. You need to have a revenue goal. You need to learn how to be professionally trained in sales. You need to create a marketing strategy. You need to decide what entity you're going to have. Are you going to be a sole proprietorship? Are you going to be an LLC? You're going to be an S Corp? You're going to be a C Corp? You're going to have a partner? You're going to not have a partner? There's so many different questions to ask there, but you need to decide on what entity you're going to have, and you need to set that as a goal. If you're just starting out and you're not going to bring on another partner, sole proprietorship is probably where you need to be until you get the revenue where it needs to be, especially in California. You got that $800 a year fee from the Franchise Tax Board to have an entity. So those are the different components. How are you going to set up your systems? You need to set up your operating systems, your database, your CRM. You need a website probably. You need a LinkedIn profile, all your social media profiles, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. All these different things need to happen to get going. However, I want to tell you, just like I told a good friend of mine who I'm working with right now, and he's doing a massive national startup. You don't need to wait until you have all these ducks in a row to go tell somebody about it. Start telling somebody about your business now. Talk to your friends, family, relatives, current customers, past customers, people you went to high school with, people that were at your wedding. Go to your cell phone. Talk to everybody about what you're doing. And be wary. You know, somebody, oh, man, that's not going to work. Oh, that's not going to work. Be careful about who you get your advice from. Okay, if they've never been successful in business, don't listen to them. Okay, if they have never been successful in business, in an actual business, don't get advice from them about business. It's as simple as that. Always get advice from people who have done what you're wanting to succeed at. You know, if I want to learn how to crochet, I'm not going to go talk to somebody who's never done it. Okay, I don't know where that came from. Crochet, of all the things I could have pulled out of my butt, I pull a crochet out. You know, I don't know. Oh, I was talking to a guy. He's like, man, I do this thing with these wheels, and I'm just so passionate about BMX racing that I have an incredible talent and gift for doing high-performance rims on racing bikes. And I can sit there just like crocheting, and I can put together a wheel while watching TV, man. It's so relaxing. It's so enjoyable. I'm like, that needs to be a business, man. And so I'm going to help the guy build a business out of it. But he's going to go through the same thing that I'm telling everybody else to do here. It's an idea. It's something he's passionate about. I know there's a market for it. I know there's people that pay thousands of dollars for certain types of rims for BMX racing, the people that are serious. And he's got a reputation. So he's got all this stuff going on. It's just, okay, how do you get this going? How do you start a business? So we're going to start off with that one-page plan: vision, mission, objectives. Now, once you have your objectives, they need to be smart, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. A SMART goal. They need to be able to be tracked and achieved. Otherwise, they're what's called a strategy, which is the next part of that one-page plan. Strategies, okay, are how are you going to get there? And if you're starting out in business, I'll give you the one piece of advice that will save you thousands, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars and a lot of stress. Get a mentor. Get a coach. Get a mentor. Get a coach. Get a mentor. Get a coach. Don't go at it alone. Don't be like me. I mean, when I first started, actually, let's see, there was only one time that I didn't have a mentor. And I failed miserably. Actually, I had a mentor. I just didn't want to listen to him. And I failed miserably. It was the first business that he wanted me to go out and sell. I'm like, I don't sell. I work at Hewlett Packard, dude. I'm a technician. I don't talk to people. And I failed miserably. And that was a very hard lesson. I took 2 years off, went and hid in a warehouse. And finally, I kicked my own butt. And I said, man, if I don't master sales, if I don't face that fear, I'll never succeed. And so I remember it was like February 11th, 1996. Started working with a guy named Dave Vanny, specifically to teach me how to sell. He told me to go do stuff that scared the hell out of me, but I went and did it, and I succeeded. And I took those same skills because now I had the skills, and I went and built multiple businesses after that. So whatever is scaring you the most is probably what you need to work on the most. And so find a mentor to guide you through the process. You know, I was on Le Tip. They had a national call yesterday. There were like 285 people on there. And there was a guy who had a photography business when the pandemic started. And his business went flat. I mean, it just totally almost wiped his business out. But because of the network, I'm part of the Tip as well. This is, well, I guess it's an endorsement of the Tip if that's the way you want to take it. But the one thing that he shared is he reached out to people in the network to find out who else has been successful in photography. He went out and found a mentor within the Tip that gave him a couple of business ideas to how to pivot his photography business and how to teach photography on YouTube, and he created all these courses. His business has grown more in the last year than it ever did prior to COVID. Now, he shared this story. It's not my story, it's his story. But as the dude is talking, I'm going, you have a whole nother business here, dude, that you don't even know about. Because you have become successful in the photography business in COVID with very little weddings, okay? He actually created an online service called the Virtual Wedding, okay? And it's successful. It's super successful. I'm like, dude, you realize how much money you can make by coaching other photographers just like you around the world on what you've done? Why do I do what I do? Because I build businesses over and over and over again. I've coached thousands of business owners, okay? I know what I'm talking about, and I was able to turn it into a business. Here's my point. When you find your mentor, you need to find somebody who's been successful in business, and better, who's been successful at your type of business if they're out there. That's who I would go and find and hire. That should be one of your top objectives on your business plan. Your strategies, when you get to your strategies section, what strategies are you going to use to hit these objectives? One of the strategies is you need to meet with your mentor, and you need to take coaching and consulting from them and go do what they tell you to do. You also, in your strategies, I would highly recommend personal growth. Have a morning routine. Have a book you read. You need to grow personally as a business owner if you want to succeed. Now, everything I'm talking about today applies to all you business owners that are already successful, that already have multi-million-dollar companies, okay? Because I know you go through the same stuff. You never arrive in your growth as a business owner. The moment you do, guess what? Let's say you've grown, or you got a $10 million company, and you're like, man, I have arrived. And here I am. This is my self-image. This is my self-esteem. I don't need to work on me no more. Well, guess what? Your business may be here, but your business is going to hit that. And it's not going to go beyond you. Okay? The only way for your business to go beyond you is you have to grow. Right? And so never, ever, ever stop growing. So get the strategies in place, the ones that you're going to use to hit the objectives. The last part of the one-page plan, and this is the last part of today's call, is the action plans. What are the things that need to be done, that need to be put in place, that need to be checked off in order for these strategies to work? The objectives are set annually. Now, for my clients, I revisit them at the end of June. So they get set in January or in December and then execute in January. We revisit them at the end of June, first part of July at the latest, and we readjust if we need to. Strategies are we visit once a quarter. We give a strategy at least once a quarter to work. Then those action plans are the things we've got to do that month using these strategies to hit those objectives. What are the things that got to get done this month? A good reason to have a mentor is the accountability. Once you have your your one-page plan done. You know what your vision is, what your mission is, what your objectives are, what your strategies are, and what your action plans are. The nice thing about a one-page plan is it does not go on a shelf. Now, it can go on a shelf if you're holding yourself accountable. But you need to find somebody that will hold you accountable, that will make you look at that plan. You can call any of my clients. Just direct message me. I'll give you a list of clients. Even if you're a competitor, I'll give you a list of clients, okay? Because your chances of stealing them are zero. And here's why. I help them create a one-page plan with objectives, strategies specifically to them, and action plans. And every single week, I hold their butt accountable to that plan, and they'll all tell you the one thing that, take John Pyron let's take me out of the picture for a minute. The one thing, the only reason I continue to pay you is you make me look at that freaking plan and you hold me accountable. And as a result, my business has grown and grown and grown. Even during COVID, it's grown and it's grown and it's grown. Why? Because they mentored with people. Okay. So again, one-page plan. Go to work this week. Get that done. Show up at next week's call, and I'll answer whatever questions you have about that, and I'll give you some coaching and help you tweak your one-page plan. So I hope that's been valuable. So we got a question. You're on mute.
There we go. Okay, so question we have. So we've seen this in our traveling. Right now, there are struggles out there for businesses to hire employees. Many states, including ours in California, have this challenge of the unemployment stimulus that's being offered is far more for them to stay home than it is to go back to work. So one of the questions to you was, how do they get past the challenge of hiring employees and competing with unemployment wages and stimulus out there?
Okay. So question is getting good talent is difficult right now because unemployment is so attractive to certain types of industries and certain types of people. They make more money staying unemployed than they will going back to work. And that's going to not change anytime soon for certain types of states. Okay, it's unfortunate. Depending on the kind of business will determine what your strategy is on how to fix that. If you're in a situation where you're paying employees minimum wage, then you're not going to be able to do that, okay, and hire and recruit talent. You will find talent if you look. It's just like a sales job, right? Like hunting down good employees now has become the new sales job for a business owner. You have to go out and hunt down prospects and find prospects and tell them about your company and all the stuff to have them become a client. There's all this effort that you have to go through to get a good client. Okay, you spend an enormous amount of energy and effort to get a new client, but it takes very little to maintain that client and keep them. You still have to nurture them. It's now the same with employees. You have to go out and hunt them down, okay? In certain specific industries, like I have a client right now, we're looking for a professional engineer, a civil professional engineer. That person is not unemployed. That person is employed somewhere. And they, it's an employee market right now. So we have to create a job ad that's super attractive. It can't just say, hey, here's your job, here's your descriptions, here's your responsibilities, here's your skill set, submit your resume. We now have to create a narrative, a marketing narrative about the job in order to attract the right talent, okay? But when you're in an industry, like I was just talking to the pool service guy, and never met the guy. He's a new pool dude, and we'll come to find out he's the owner's son. And the reason the son's out there now going around cleaning pools is because they can't find anybody. Because they had one superstar employee that used to clean my pool for the last four years. He's like, woke up one day and go, man, I could start my own pool service. So he went out and did it. And in California, there is no non-compete. There is no non-solicitation that's going to be upheld. You might think that you can hold your employees to that, but I got news for you. You can't. But you got to come up with creative and attractive ways of giving people reasons to come work for you. Now, if you're in a restaurant, you own a bar, things like that, where they physically have to come to the location, that's going to be a little bit more challenge, but they're out there. You're just going to have to put on your sales hat and go out and hunt them down and find them and steal them from somebody else. You're not going to find them sitting at home, okay? They're employed somewhere, okay? And all they need to do is be convinced that you're going to pour time, energy, and effort into them and their career, and it's going to be a super cool place to work, and you're going to show appreciation to them, and you're going to provide training to them, and you're going to do all these wonderful things to make their life easier. You're going to give them flexibility to work from home when they need to or when they want to. If you think that you're an employer that used to have a brick and mortar business in January of 2020 and you had 40 employees and they all showed up to the office, and now that we're kind of beyond COVID now, right? You think they're all going to come back to the office? I got news for you. There's a poll came out, over 52% of employees surveyed that got put not out to the they got sent home to work from home. Over 52% of them said if they're forced to come back to the office, they're quitting and going to work for somebody else who will let them work from home. So if you don't have those types of things in place, you need to assess your employees, assess your existing employees, see what kind of talent you have. Like, we do these assessments, and it gives us their behaviors, how they behave, how they interact, how they communicate, what drives them, what motivates them internally, how to motivate them internally, and what their competencies are, what their skill sets are. And I have about a 93% accuracy of that person. So not only my existing employees can I make them more productive, more happier, and create higher retention, but now that I have my own house in order and I have a high performing team and a great culture where I have their employees are happy, they're excited to come to work, things like that, I can now go out and attract other employees because I guarantee you they know people just like them. I can turn my employees into recruiting machines too. And so my answer to the question is you've got to get creative. You really need to find somebody to mentor you through this challenge in this process. But if you don't want to do that, just think about this. You're going to have to be a salesperson for employees. You're going to have to go out and find them. You know, you may walk into the grocery store and the guy behind the counter just greets you with a smile, has a positive energy about him or her or whatever. And you just have a good feeling in talking to this person. And you're like, man, this guy would make a great asset. Attitude, positive attitude, having a great smile, a great persona about yourself. You can't train that. You either have that or you don't. I can teach you how to be a bookkeeper. I can teach you how to do the skills that I need you to do. What I can't give you is your heart and your desire and your drive to work. Okay? So I would tell people stop competing with unemployment. I'm not looking for those people. Do I even want them on my payroll? I'm just being honest. If they have the ability to go out and work, and they're not working because they're satisfied with unemployment, I don't want that person on my payroll. I'm just being honest. I'm going to go out and find somebody who's employed, who's not being treated right where they're at, who is not being appreciated, who is not the employer is not saying, hey, how can I help you? Your goals? What are your goals in life, Sally? What are your goals in life, Joe? You know, what do you want to get accomplished? How much money do you want to make here? How can I help you do that? I know you're probably not going to retire here, but what are your goals? What would you like to achieve in your personal skill set while you're here? How can I help you? How can I serve you? And I tell you right now, those employers of you that are watching this, if you don't pivot and you don't start helping your employees achieve success within your own organization and teaching them how to be successful and pouring more energy and effort on training them, not just to do their job, but to how to be successful in life, and bringing in speakers and bringing in mentors and bringing in coaches and talking about personal finance, budgeting, retirement, how to, every area, fitness, health, fitness. If you're not going to pour time and energy and effort into your employees, you're not going to retain them. Not in this market, because somebody out there is going to do what I'm talking about. It's like I have a client of mine up and ready. Started working with her and her team of 12 people in January, and we've solved the turnover problem. We now have the recruiting in place. We're recruiting and hiring people that are great. The retention factor is no longer an issue. The attractiveness is no longer an issue. And the more they continue those practices in place of doing special things for the employees, teaching them, training them, pouring energy into them, you're going to make your company so attractive, people are going to want to work for you. It's like the pool guy was talking to me today. I'm like, what's the biggest business challenge you have? He goes, man, retention, keeping employees. I can tell you right now what the problem is. It's the owner. It's his dad. I didn't want to tell the guy that. But if you're not keeping your employees, you got to look at yourself first as the owner. What are you doing to keep them? You think that you're just going to continue just to pay them their salary and they're going to stay? You got blinders on, man, in this world. We're going through a housing crisis and an employee crisis. And good employees are working, and they're going to get paid top dollar, and they're going to be appreciated.
Okay, it's either you're going to change and grow as a business owner, or you're going to continue the wheel and the cycle. Yeah. So I
have a client that I fired about a year and a half ago, and last year, almost 2 years ago. And when I left his company, because he was no longer coachable. They were set to do their first $1 million that year, and now the whole thing is crumbled. It's fallen apart. All the processes, systems, everything I'm talking about here today, he's gotten back to his own again. His self-esteem was here. His company was here. And he refused to grow, and so now he's got his company back down to here. And I was talking to one of the people there, and that person was telling me, it's like they would bounce in a heartbeat. They would bounce in a heartbeat. The person hasn't had a review in over 2 years. Was told that that person was told that they were going to get a review after 90 days, then after 6 months, then after a year, then after, every year after that. Haven't had a single review. Why? It's easy not to do a review. Well, it doesn't show that you appreciate your employee. You need to give your employees more attention now than you ever have, because there's too many companies out there that will steal them. They don't even have to go look. They don't even have to be on ZipRecruiter or be hunting for a job. Guarantee you, people will take them if they discover who they are. So here's the moral of the story: is get your culture in order. Okay, if you need help with that, definitely reach out to me. You got a question?
Yeah. So how do you feel about, so you see out there hiring bonuses. So companies out there that are offering for employees to obviously apply for the job because they are putting out their monetary value of a hiring bonus. So how do you feel about hiring bonuses?
Great question. Certain types of industries have hiring bonuses, and it was definitely a popular thing in the 90s and in the early 2000s to recruit talent. I think we're kind of back to that as well. Is hiring bonuses are attractive, but also you need to go to your existing employees and tell them, hey, I will give you a bonus for finding a person. Why not? You know, it's like the client up and ready. I gave them the strategy. I'm like, you're the owner. You have 11 other employees. Why not put together a bonus program that anybody in here that goes out and finds a great candidate for this position we're trying to fill, you're going to get a bonus, and make the bonus significant. $500, $1,000. That's real money, you know? And so why not bonus your existing employees to go out and recruit for you too? Heck, you got 11 people that work there. Now, here's the big question. Go and ask your employees, if you're in a position to refer a friend or colleague to work here, would you refer them? Your favorite person in the world, the person that you have the best relationship ever, would you refer them to work here? And say, hey, you're not going to be penalized for giving me the honest answer, you know? Because what you want is you want a culture where your employees go out and find people to come work there. You know? And if they don't like working there, or they've got one foot out the door, that strategy doesn't work. So you got to have the culture. So the answer to your question is, yeah, I would do whatever it takes. And the reason is you want a great employee, not a good employee. And the difference is this: a great employee is going to do the job you're asking them to do way better than you or anybody else in that company. And that's what you're looking for. You're not looking for somebody that is at your level as an owner. Warren Buffett, I mean, he's got a track record of successful companies. And his number one rule is when he walks into the board of directors, everybody in that room has to be smarter than him. Everybody. Otherwise, he replaces them. And so you need to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you and let your ego down. You know, you need to go and look at the job that you're hiring them for and go, I need a superstar in this thing, because good employees will always make you money. They will not cost you money. If you settle for and you use things like, man, I interviewed the person, they interviewed well over the phone, they answered the questions, I did their background check, I did their reference check, and I just like them. That's a big mistake. And a lot of companies, unfortunately, hire like that. You need to assess them. You need to assess their behaviors, their skill sets, their talents, do a background check, all that stuff before you insert them into your culture. And if you do that, your turnover will be way low. Okay? And chances of you having to offer a bonus will be slim. But if I was going to offer a bonus, I'd be like, okay, here's a $1,000 hiring bonus or $10,000 hiring bonus, depending on the position that you're hiring for. And you get half now, or you get a quarter now. And every quarter that you're here, you get the other quarter of that. Okay? Because in California, once you give them the money, you can't take it back. Okay, I don't know what the laws are in other states, but here, once I give them a bonus, I can't take it back. So if I want to do a hiring bonus, I want somebody that's going to be there for at least a year. I'll know. They'll know if they're going to stay for a year. I'll know if I even want them after a month. You know? But the hiring bonus is it's paid out quarterly. So if it's $1,000, $250 a quarter, I give them $250 up front, $250 next quarter, $250 third quarter, etc. So hopefully that answers your question. Cool deal. All right. Well, it's been a fun call today. Next week, we're going to get deep into what do I want to tackle next week? We're going to get deep into structuring that business, getting that business plan finalized, and we're going to talk about how to start, how to get that word out and how to create leads for your business and all the stuff that you have in place to get that done. So go out and make it happen and show up next week with your questions and answers. We'll talk to you later. Take care.